I would ask that if you please bring it to my attention if your case is called and you're represented by Gray Robinson in any capacity. There are two ways we can address your case today. The first method is called summary disposition. Summary disposition is for those who are not disputing whether there is a violation and only need more time to comply. We will address all of these cases first. For anyone who elects summary disposition and is given extra time to comply, the potential fine for noncompliance would be $30 per day for each day of noncompliance after the extra time versus the normal fine of $50 per day. The second way we can address your case is by hearing your case. This method is for those who are disputing whether there is a violation and would like to present testimony and evidence as to why they believe there isn't a violation. I would now ask that everyone please stand and be sworn in by the clerk.
You're going to testify, you please stand. Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
So for anyone who would like to exercise summary disposition, please come form a line in front of me. So if you're electing that first option of summary disposition, you can come up here. Good morning. How are you? Okay. And this
Page
14?
40.
40. Okay. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Page 40.
301 incident.
Okay. All right. So you need me to say the page number?
Page number and the address.
Okay, so 301, it's been a while. Pasadena, Circle North. And then Daniel.
We're gonna do 30 days or $30.
Okay.
30 days is $7.
So 30 days would be $710, and then $30 a day thereafter.
Yes.
Yeah, I will go down right now and check with Doug maybe.
That's okay.
All right, thank you.
Just a second.
Oh, wait, you gotta.
Yeah, go use the
Yeah, you're good. You next. Good morning. What page are you?
Thank you.
22.
What page?
22. And it's 409 Hennessy Street. Okay. And what? Okay.
10 days.
10 days. And then $30, right? Okay.
He's got it done. Just had it done.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So you'll just go check it. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Gracias.
Hang on.
You're going to come right here.
No, I don't. Okay, thank you.
Page 41.
41. Okay. 1214 Greenview Drive. Okay.
And suggestion of 60 days for $30.
I was going to say, does he have
Tell
to?
her to-
Yeah.
He's gonna agree to it.
It's getting busier again. Like the book's thicker. Hi, good morning.
So, yeah. So he's agreeing to 60 days. And then after that, he understands that after 60 days, it'll be 30 a day.
Mm-hmm.
30 a day. Okay, so 60 days from today.
Is August 9th.
And the Feed Mahaki, it's under her name.
They're both on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Feed Mahaki. Así son las cosas.
That's how it goes. Gracias. Thank you. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Is there anyone else that wishes to exercise summary disposition? Okay, we're going to start hearing cases now. I'll wait till they're done.
start with one,
Start
two
page
tabs.
Oh, that's right.
Yep, all those.
Yep. That's right. And you said, so you'll say out the page number and then the address and the owner name?
The page number, the case number, the address.
That's right. And the officer, okay.
Hey. Adam.
All right, we're going to begin hearing cases. So page 6, case number LCE 22-00461, address 1047 North Lincoln Avenue, and the code enforcement officer is Alex Gomez. Bobby Lisbon.
So Lisbon right here.
Oh, you'll just go right here. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. Alex Gomez, City of Lincoln Code Enforcement. Case number is LCE 22-00461. The address is 1047 North Lincoln Avenue. The owner is Bobby Lisbon. Violations ordinance 3947, Chapter 3. And all the ones listed there. Date of violations 2/11/22. To be corrected by 4/15/2022. Reinspection was 4/18/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022 to show the violation still exists. City's recommending compliance by 8/9/2022, or a $50 day fine may be imposed. This was they were in the middle of working on this, and it was a structure fire that occurred in the middle of working on it, so I told Mr. Lisbon that they could discuss.
Go ahead, Mr. Lisbon.
Hi. Okay, on this building, we was in the process of fixing it up, and we replaced the roof, and then a structural fire occurred electrically, and it just take money on top of money to complete this project, and I would like to get an extra 90 days to complete this.
So 90 days total, or 60 plus another 90?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. 90 days total, or 60 plus another 90?
Well, if I can get 60 plus another 90 days, I would prefer.
I don't think that was going to work, but if you, maybe 90 days,
Okay, 90 days will be fine.
would that be okay?
I wouldn't have,
Okay.
based on the issues that he had with it, yes.
Okay. I find there is a violation, and we'll give 90 days, so you'll have till September 8th. Yeah, September 8th to come into compliance, and then it's, what was your recommendation?
You're $50 per day.
Or a $50 fine per day thereafter.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Page 7, case LCE 22-00605. Address is 1688 Compson Place, and the code enforcement officer is Angela Kaiser.
Thank you. I'm Code Enforcement Officer April Reeves for the City of Lakeland, presenting for Code Enforcement Officer Angela Kaiser. The case number is LCE 22-00605. The address is 1688 Compson Place. The owners are Bernard and Misseline Fulse. Violation is ordinance 3947, Chapter 3, Section 307.4, care of premises with overgrowth, open storage, and junk. The date of the violation was February 21st, 2022, and was to be corrected by February 28th, 2022. The photos dated March 28th, May 7th, and June 3rd, 2022 show that the violation still exists. I would like to give a little bit of a background to this case. CSX Railroad hired some contractors to remove some trees. When the contractors removed those trees, they deposited them on this property at 1688 Compson Place under the belief that CSX owned that property. The other violations as stated in this case include the lack of maintenance in regard to high grass and weeds and junk and garbage items on the property as seen in the photos. This case has been open for nearly 4 months. The city recommends that the property come into compliance by June 20th, 2022, or a fine of $50 a day be imposed and run until the compliance is met.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Miss Aline Fulse. I'm the wife of Bernard Fulse. And the two of us acquired this property at or about November of 2019. It was a completely wooded property. We, at that time, and from that time until this incident happened, we were dealing with Mr. McClellan, and we had an issue that they kept depositing tires all around the property. So about every month, we would go and get the tires and take them and pay for them to be taken away, and that was no problem. However, at or around September of 2021, we went to take up the tires and the things that normally are deposited around there, because we found after this happened, we started going up and down the streets over there to see where is this coming from. Well, the problem is there is a Angelo's dump, a licensed dump over there across the street. So they don't take tires. There are certain things that they don't take. So anyway, what happened, I wrote a statement so that I wouldn't forget anything. I hope it doesn't bore you, but anyway.
No, go ahead.
After arriving at our property on September, I'm not sure of the date, around the 19th, we were so appalled because the company working with CSX and DOT had decided to take all of the forest that was lined on Fairfax Street, that was lined neatly on Fairfax Street for looked like 100 years. They took the whole forest, including a mountain. I don't have pictures like her. I have them on my cell phone. But it was so high until we looked like little minute people standing next to them. They deposited them all on our property. It was not a mistake. I just want to explain to you, there was a black plastic liner with an orange plastic liner that CSX or DOT had marked our property so that their people would not even drive on our property. They ran over the plastic and they deposited these trees, and the trees will be higher than the ceiling. I have 65 pictures. However, we didn't know what to do. We were so shocked. We have a Prius, and these things were twice the size of the car. So we took and called the police, and the police said, Lakeland PD, oh, that's a CSX DOT project, just get with them. So we called Mr. McClellan, because we had been talking to him about this dumping, and we were trying to get him to see if we could get some of these fancy signs that says, notify Lakeland PD if somebody dumps here, and we weren't able to get them yet. So he told us, let me find out who's doing this, and he called and found out and told me to call DOT. I called DOT, and they told us that they would get in touch with the contractor who was there. And clearly, I can't be racist, but they gave me the number to this man, and I called him myself in my own voice, a law-abiding citizen, and I asked him if he realized that he had turned my 2-acre property into a dump. Angelo's dump is across the street. They're very strict on what they accept, and now I am receiving all that they don't accept. And I said, and he said, well, we'll come out and get them. We'll come out and get our trees Monday. I said, no, sir. Getting your trees is not nearly the problem. They used big, huge trucks, bigger than those trucks that got over there in the Ukraine and made a road through the property. People were dumping on both sides. Anyway, I told them, you will have to remove your trees and secure my property. At the same time, not even a month from that, there was a body found across the street. I am a law-abiding citizen, 40 years at Lakeland Regional. I cannot afford anybody to hold me responsible for their child driving a all-terrain or something through my property. It was neatly wooded. It was clearly not being violated. The people who dumped just dumped like a little short thing of concrete on it now and then, and we could just go get that and put it on our trailer and take it away. Mr. McClellan was clear on what was happening. So I talked to Brent Marley, Vice President of Condote. I talked to him and I told him, I said, you will have to secure my property because after you move your trees, then I'm gonna have an absolute playground. I'm gonna have kids parking. I'm gonna have kids riding through there. You've got to secure the property. I need you to clean it and secure it. So they did not. They did not. He laughed. He actually laughed at me and he said, this is a 3-year project. That property's not gonna be any good anyway. We're putting a 3rd track in and you guys won't be able to do anything with it anyway. How about I just rent it from you for $5,000? And we said, rent it? I have already talked to 4 builders, RADA, Eagle Construction, several people. I talked to Mr. Elise upstairs in CRA. We wanted to put low-income houses there. We have properties and we have people calling us homeless regularly. And that was my dream, to put some duplexes or something on this property. I've even talked to the architect right there on, I don't know his name. Anyway, we were actually working on this. After he said that, I explained, I said, Mr. Marley, before I called you, I checked on who you were. And I found out that you're a Florida grad and you're a bull gator and all these things. I'm just a working woman. My husband is a working man. We're 40 years working in this area. And we want our property clean and secured until we're able to develop it. We're in that business. I don't have any more to talk to you. And he just hung up. So my neighbor, I did not pay any money for an attorney, wrote a letter saying, this is what we need, here are the pictures, and all of these pictures, none of these pictures have the furniture. There's a dining room suite, couches, all kinds of stuff being dumped out there. So I'm just saying that all of these pictures are serious, and cutting the lot, cleaning the lot, it is cut and cleaned right now. It took us 2 weeks to find someone who wasn't booked up. It's cut, clean, I have the pictures. But these trees, when these trees are moved, it will look like a beachfront because they rolled in tanks. You know, they took tanks and pulled up these 100-year-old trees. And when I called the police and I could not get assistance, and I called Mr. McClellan and I could not get assistance, I sent a letter. So Miss Angela Kaiser took over Mr. McClellan's area. She called us immediately and she said, well, I'll give a call to CSX. And I said, okay. And we told them, we want them to move their trees, but they will have to secure the area so that, I don't know if you know, in Fairfax, there's a place that sells the all-terrain vehicles. They were actually test driving them down there near my property. So all it takes is for them to test drive it, then somebody's gonna bring their kids, and then I'm gonna be in a lawsuit. So I said to Angie Kaiser, I said, we need them to secure it. If they don't wanna secure the part that's by the railroad, that's their person. So if somebody enters it through the railroad, that will be CSX or Department of Transportation. But I need my property secured. So That is the argument. Okay, so when we told them that again, and Angie called them, they said she has a lawyer. Well, I don't have a lawyer. I've been paying Legal Shield, and I pay Lakeland Regional Legal, and I called the lawyers that are on the plan. They're all working for either the DOT or CSX. They will not take the case. So I don't have a lawyer. So I am not doing the thing that you did, because I can't say when they're going to get those trees up, because they have a 3-year project going on. I could say that my property will be clean and cleared, and the lots that are designated that can be built on are all on the edge. They're not where these trees are. And I'm actually out, I already have Alan T. Neal is supposed to come out and survey it so that I could come back to CRA and the planning department and try to get some housing for people that are laying around, sleeping on benches and all these places. So that's our goal, is to do something good. But I can't say that I'll have it done in 60 days. I can't say I'll have it done in 90 days. I'll say that my lot will be clean and nice like it was. But these people in these trees, I don't know if it's going to go to court or what.
Okay. I have a question. Is this something that they
What, do you want to
Yeah.
sidebar?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
So, I understand the issues, and you don't really have a time frame, and I'm limited on what I can rule and how I can, and I don't think 10 days, although I understand the situation, is really fair or reasonable. So what I was asking is, you know, I don't know if it's to give you more time, and then at that point, if you wanted to come back and give a status update, or
I was hoping to get clarification from the officer as far as what needs to be done. When was the last time you were out there, and what is left to remove from the property?
because I'm understanding it's just the trees, but we don't want them, you don't want them removed until there's an agreement as to securing the property for liability, correct?
they can remove them. All I asked them was for an agreement, a written agreement that they will secure the property.
Okay. The last time that I know that someone was out there was on June 3rd of this year, and at that point, I was informed that the trees and the junk on the property and that the weeds were still high at that point.
I have the pictures, they're done. We were dealing with rain. All of the working people who do the trees were dealing with the rain issue. Every time they bring the heavy equipment out to cut, the rain would catch them out there, and it's actually more messed up because they took, I don't know what you call those the big things that you go through the they're not tires, they're the big things that's on, it's soft ground now. So anyway, but it is cut now. I have pictures of it as of yesterday. It's cut, and he's going back out today to finish cleaning up the debris from the cut. So we keep it cut. It's no problem keeping it cut. It's just that during this 2 or 3 week stormy period, we had a problem, and we have been getting the bids from the tree people. The company, I wanted to tell you, the company told us they're not coming out. They'll just pay us, and we can get our own people. Well, there is no my own people. I've contacted everybody who's clearing land all around Lakeland and can't find anybody. So we finally found one gentleman. He said it'll take him about 2 or 3 weeks to do it, but he gave us a price that we could send these people. And then we had Danielle Fence come out, and I told her the cheapest fence, I don't care if it's a pole fence with barbed wire, I don't care. The cheapest thing just to keep them off. But anyway, and I just wanted to share with you the amount of land that is left, that's CSX's land. It is so small, they couldn't even put their trucks on it to fix the railroad. You know, when the road just got broke, when they just fixed the railroad, they closed the road, and they were fixing the new third railroad. They don't even have enough enough room at the tip. They were sitting on top of that plastic thing that marks our land to fix the railroad. So they knew where the lot lines were.
And the trees that were taken down and left there, those are on your property? Or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's pictures. She just showed you pictures. There's a black plastic thing that they use to mark.
Right.
See that?
Yeah.
They actually, if you see on this side, you know, on the bottom, you see that little road? That's where they took their tanks. It looked like a tank. And they took them down the side of the railroad and dumped the trees all on the side of the property, on the side of that plastic that they weren't even supposed to ride on. They dumped it all there. And then they made another road coming down the street and dumped more. It's so much that you just, my husband was standing, I have my pictures. My husband was standing there and he looked like an ant next to how tall these trees were before. They've died away some, so they got smaller, but they were so high, we were like, oh my God. And Mr. McClellan came out and he couldn't believe it either. He said, you know, this is ridiculous.
Well, so, I mean, your options are that you can postpone this if you want to give her more time to make her claim or file a lawsuit or whatever she's going to do with CSX. But, you know, whether or not it's a violation is really your only thing that you can determine. And it's not a violation for her to not have a fence. So, you know, putting up a fence or whatever, that sounds like a good idea in the long run, but it's not really relevant for this proceeding and whether or not she's in compliance or out of compliance. It's just the presence of the overgrowth and the fallen tree or the felled trees. So once those trees are removed and the grass is cut and everything, she'll be in compliance. I mean, I can't really give her any advice as far as protecting her interests for, you know, to proceed against CSX or whatever, but, you know, you could give her an extended deadline that, to get that removed that should, you know, allow her enough time to figure out if she wants to sue them or if they're going to pay for her to hire somebody or if they're going to actually do it or however they work that out. We can't really dictate how they resolve their problem between them, but so my suggestion would be either to just you know, the thing is if you continue it, we come back, then I'm not sure exactly what we'll be looking for at that time. I haven't really heard any concrete time frame.
And if that deadline
Right,
is not
that's what I was
met,
thinking.
it will come back to the full board.
Yeah.
For the when the affidavit is filed. So yeah, I mean that'd be another thought. I mean, if you want to give her I don't know how if the officer has a suggestion for time frame. I know this is typically a 10-day recommendation, but is there any flexibility with?
Everything else is cut. I could show her that. Everything else is cut. It's just the trees that we'll be dealing with after today.
Do you have a suggestion as far as how much time that you think you'll need to get those trees removed?
And the max that I have the authority.
I have, the problem is that they were sent the letter within the last week that came from the only person in this whole area that was willing to try to move those trees. And he gave the amount and they will have to agree to it, you know. otherwise, you know, for me to say that I can go and just pay this man this amount of money, it's huge. It's huge. It's enough to start a building. It's really huge, and other than keeping her or the lady informed that they said they will go ahead and pay it, or they said they won't pay it, and so I am going to have to go out of town somewhere to get a lawyer, you know, because Desires and all these people in this area who have the contract with Lakeland Regional Legal and Legal Shield, they all have retainers with the two companies involved, CSX and DOT, so they can't take the case. So I'm actually going to have to go out of the area to find somebody. So I'm hoping that they'll go ahead and pay to move it, but I can keep you all informed in terms of telling the code officer, or her name is Angela. I could call her and say they said they would do it, and the man is going to start like that. But you know, I don't mind coming back to tell you guys or tell someone what's going on, because it actually makes me feel better to talk about it, because it's just been boiling. I mean, I caught COVID like 2 months later. I caught COVID and was in the hospital. I was so stressed with this. And I've been in the hospital 40 years and I've never caught anything. I didn't catch H1N1. I never caught anything. But because I was already stressed out, I ended up in the hospital with this.
Mrs. False, did you say that once, let's say that CSX agrees, okay, just hypothetically, you said that this person can remove the trees within 2 to 3 weeks? Is that?
He said it would take him at least 2 to 3 weeks because he doesn't have the level of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
This company, this Conduit of America, they actually build bridges. So the equipment they had here was the equipment they had while they was building the bridge across I-4, and it's been moved. As a matter of fact, it was moved to Tampa, and I saw all the same equipment, but that's why they don't want to bring their equipment back and move it. So this man is going to have to bring some heavy equipment in. I mean, some of the trees were so huge that the root system was 10 feet high.
So from the date of acceptance, then it's going to take another 2 to 3 weeks. Is that what you're asking? So what were you, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm understanding.
Okay.
Yes, but I will notify you all, you know, so you don't put it back on the hearing thing, that it is been approved and it is in work, you know, or whatever you need me to do.
So, okay.
If the hearing officer gives you a deadline, like 90-day deadline, and you're able to get an agreement and get it all done, then you won't have to come back here.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
I would appreciate it.
So I'm going to find there is a violation, although I understand the circumstances. And although the 10 days is normally recommended because of this, I'm going to say 90 days, so you have until September 8th to come into compliance. If something happens in between, you know, contact, Angela's going to be continuing, okay.
Yes.
Contact the code enforcement officer, and then what was the recommendation for the fine per day thereafter if we don't?
So $50 a day.
Okay, so we'll say 90 days, so you have till September 8th, and then a $50 fine per day thereafter, but keep in contact with Angela and keep everyone up to date, and then hopefully
Right,
it'll
so
be
if in
resolved.
fact we find that we're having to go to court, who do I notify so that the $50 or whatever, I don't know what happens if we end up having to go to court.
If you're not in compliance by September 8th, the case will come back to a full code board. So you can come before the code board and state your case.
And,
Okay.
okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. All right. Okay, page 8, case number LCE 22-00662, address 1314 West 10th Street. The owner is Martin Dwight Sr. and Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez. Thank you.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement. Case number is LCE 22-00662. Address is 1314 West 10th Street. The owner is Dwight A. Martin Jr. or Sr. The ordinance is 3947, Chapter 3, Section 305.3.1, roofs structurally sound maintained. Date of violations 2/23/2022, to be corrected by 4/24/2022. Reinspection was completed on 4/25/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022 to show that the violation still exists. City recommends compliance by 8/9/2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Mr. Dwight,
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
doing well, how are you?
I'm not disputing none of this here. I just been, in and out the mental hospital because of my PTSD. I spoke with Mr. Alex and told him what my situation was. I've been sick and I needed time. Mrs. What her name?
Miss Annie.
Miss Anna is trying to get me on the housing reform list. So I got some paperwork I got to take down there today. All I'm asking, if y'all allow me to get down there to see what she can do for me, we can, I can go from there. If she don't be able to do something for me, I just need some time where I can get the money up maybe, where I can just, because the house is built in 1920. I asked, can I get a grant for historical, but there's no historical in black neighborhoods, I'm sorry to say it like that there. So I just need some time because like I said, I'm in and out mental hospitals.
And Mr. Gomez recommended 60 days. If you go today, would that be,
Well, see, this the whole thing. I just need to see what Miss Anna could do for me first. If y'all give me that time period to see if she can work it out. If she can't work it out, let me come back.
okay, and that would,
Yes.
And then if you
Miss Annie's she's part of the housing department.
and if she can't do it, then you can oppose those kind of, which I'ma still need a little more time because, like I said, I'm a disabled vet, and
so within that 60 days that he recommended, you will have time to go speak, and then if you need to, contact Mr. Gomez or you need more time, that can be addressed then, correct?
If it does not come into compliance by that time, then it would go in front of the code enforcement board.
So you would
At that
have-
time, they would be the ones to make
So
determinations.
that would be similar to the situation previously.
okay, see now,
And they would be able to give you more time than I would be able to.
yeah, cause see, I have a caregiver that helps me out in understanding stuff, cause
Yeah, so I do find there is a violation that's not disputed. And so
Right.
I'm limited to, I'm gonna say the 60 days, but go take your paperwork, go see them, be in contact with Mr. Gomez, and if you need more time, they will arrange for you to go in front of the board to discuss that, okay?
that's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna say 60 days, so you'll have until, I have to say this, but until,
So I got to see what Miss Anna say, and all right, and then me and Miss Anna get in contact with.
or someone needs to contact.
I mean, cause I think he works right down there with her, if I'm not mistaken. I know I'm pretty sure it's probably not his position to have to check behind what's going on. But
No, they'll tell you how to continue the process and what you need to do.
yeah,
Because I don't know specifically,
okay,
okay?
all right.
All right, so it'll be 60 days. Take care of your stuff, so you'll have till August 9th, or a $50 fine per day thereafter, but keep in contact if you need to request more time or see the board to further that, okay?
Okay, cause I don't.
Wish you luck.
I don't want the fine, so I need to contact out
They'll tell you how to,
extension, for the extension part of it.
Yeah.
All right.
okay? All right, thank you. Okay, page 22. Oh, wait, we did that, sorry. Sorry, page 26, case number LCE 22-01261. And the address is 731 Pear Street. Owner Christopher Brown and Linda M. Brown. Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement. Case number is LCE 22-01261. The address is 731 Pear Street. The owners are Christopher Brown, Linda M. Brown. Ordinance is 5425, section 4.3.1. Accessory structure prior to a principal structure. The date of violation is 3/17/2022. To be corrected by 3/28/2022. Reinspection was done on 4/8/2022. Photos were done on 6/3/2022. Showed the violation still existed. The city is recommending that the compliance be met by 8/9/2022, or a $50 a day fine may be imposed.
Morning, go ahead.
When we acquired this land,
State your name. State your name for record.
I'm Linda M. Brown.
Christopher Brown.
And when we acquired this land, we were under the assumption the whole property, and we'd been maintaining the whole property. And we got the shed so we could store some stuff to eliminate storage, because it's very hard to try to get a place on a fixed income. And he's not working because he was in an accident. But needless to say, this notification in writing is the first notification that we got, because evidently there was problems. We only had a copy of the deed, so we didn't have the original deed. And when we went in to talk about getting a privacy fence put up, they told us that we could have a 6-foot high fence. And they said, well, did the guy get the things to put the shed on the property? And they said no. And they said, well, you'll have to bring in the dimensions. So we brought in the dimensions the next day and was going to do it all. And then they said that the whole property is not ours, but we've been maintaining it. In fact, just the other day, like she was saying, tires were dumped there. We got tired of looking at it. Code enforcement didn't move them off of their own property, so we finally relocated those. We were tired of looking at them, and we've been maintaining both sections. And he came out there one day and asked us to move our trailers after they had been there for ever since we acquired their property. So they didn't check until we actually went in to make everything for to put up a privacy fence. And we acquired this property from Jose and David.
David Gorlez or something like that.
I thought it was Mulligan, something like that. Do you have something to add? I can't remember. I fell on the property because we can't even have electric out there, and there's a pole right there that they could connect it to. So I even fell on the property and hurt myself. So
Go ahead.
Just for some
Yes.
clarification on this,
Okay.
the building is there without a permit to begin with,
Okay.
because in the city it requires there be a building permit for that property there. The tires on the city property, which they're discussing, this time of year, once a month, our city contractor does come around once a month and actually picks up the tires.
they were there over a month.
They weren't, because I know they weren't there because I checked the property. They were there after he had cut the property already, so.
So is the solution that there needs to be a permit for the property?
No, there needs to be a primary structure before there's a accessory structure attached.
And that's the storage shed?
That's a storage shed, which is out there to begin with without a permit. So they have to actually have a primary structure before they can have an accessory structure put on that by the zoning.
By zone, so that's a zoning.
Yeah.
So this property requires the fact that it has to have a permanent structure when there are houses out there that aren't permanent structure. And we've had a lot of comments on our shed that it looks really nice. I mean, we've only tried to beautify the place, but we do use it for storage. But we do need electric in order to see. I'm sorry, but like I said, we went in to try, because we thought that they pulled it, the people that delivered it. And so we tried to do it both, and they said, bring in the measurements. So we come in the next day to do it. And then they told us after we could have a 6-foot high fence, then they said, no, now you can only have a 4-foot high. So we don't know what to believe, okay?
But I think, if I'm not mistaken, the fence isn't going to solve the issue.
No, there
The
still
fence
has to
would-
be a primary structure on that building.
What he's saying is zoning requires certain things, which is a whole nother, I can't speak to that because I personally don't, know that, but that is a whole zoning issue. So you need to contact them and figure out, how to move forward to get that. And the fence is not the issue, and the shed is very nice, but you need to get that zoning up to date.
So what do we need?
I don't know, but I'm sure somebody could lead you.
When you purchased the shed, did you buy it from a company that could give you the plans to it as well?
They gave us the plans. We took the plans in to get the permit.
So
Yeah,
you
we
brought
took
the
it.
plans here?
Yeah, they made copies too.
Okay. So you need to go downstairs and they've got what they call the planner on demand. You need to talk to a planner on demand and ask them how you can, if it's possible to have this, or if you're going to, I don't know how, if there's a way that you can have the shed without having a home. That's what the code enforcement officer is saying is the violation, is the fact that there's a shed but there's no home there.
Right.
And so the zoning code requires there to be a home on the property before you can have a shed. And I don't know if there's an exception to that rule, or if there's some other way that you can have the shed. I don't know, but the planner on demand would be able to help you
Who's
with that.
Where are they?
They're on the first floor of this building.
Okay.
So you need to speak with them, because the issue is that versus the fence and the other things. That's not the violation, okay? So I'm gonna agree that there is a violation, fine, there's a violation, a zoning violation, and then give you the recommended 60 days, so until August 9th, to come into compliance, and then a $50 fine per day thereafter. But go downstairs and,
That's a limit extension you can give, is 60 days?
I'm sorry?
That's a limit extension you can give is
That's what I can do for this.
because my mother recently passed, and we need to get, we have to go and take care of things, and it's a lot of money involved.
I think-
And to make it permanent structure is going to cost a lot of money too.
But I think you need to just go speak with someone first. It might be, I think you're jumping ahead,
Okay.
okay?
I'm s-
I'm not sure, because that's
Right.
not my element, but
Right, I understand. So go
Okay.
down there now and talk to them?
yeah.
That would be my recommendation,
I would
because you're
say-
here, so.
Yes.
Well.
And there's somebody who'll be available to talk to you and tell you what your options are.
Okay.
It may be that the only option is to remove the shed.
And that costs money too, I mean, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't have a place to move it to. So, okay, we'll go talk to them and see what they say.
Go see what they say, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're, this one came off, so I'm gonna,
The next one's on page 30. It's second two down, second two.
the second one.
Yeah, 933 Golden Rule Court.
Okay, that's the one that came off, okay. Okay, case number LCE 22-01400, address 933 Golden Rule Court North, owner Bertie Brown, and Code Enforcement Officer Darren Crowell.
Hi, I'm Nick Gariffi.
He's gonna go first. Sorry, you're good. Go ahead.
Darren Kroll, Code Enforcement Officer, City of Lakeland. Case number is LCE 22-01400. The address is 933 Golden Rule Court North. The owner is Bertie Brown. The violation is Section 86-2, lot clearing and overgrowth. The date of the violation was March 25th, 2022. It was to be corrected by April 1st, 2022. It was re-inspected on April 12th, 2022. Pictures were taken on June 3rd, 2022, and the violation still existed. The city recommends compliance by June 20th, 2022, or a $50 a day fine until compliance is met.
Okay, now go ahead. Will you state your name, please?
Nick Gariffi. I did some research on this. I'm trying to acquire this property. All the heirs are dead, and the neighbor was the caretaker, and I was trying to. He was paying the taxes, so it's still in her name at the courthouse. And I looked up on property appraisers.
What's your name?
Nick. My name's Nick Gariffi.
And we can hear this from him.
I was trying to.
Case, and you just have to make your, he's just a buyer, so he can state, he has a right to state what he wants to state, and then you can make a decision.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so we work for an investment company, and we're trying to, help the city out with issues like this right here in hand. And so I was just trying to acquire it, but the neighbor has been paying the taxes on it, but it's still in her name at the property appraisers. So I'm not sure if I had to do a quiet title or what process I have to go into to get it, because obviously it's just going to create building. It's just going to build up, and she died in like 2014. So it's just I'm not sure the process on how to go about that or who I need to talk to acquire it and help the city.
Have you researched the taxes? Are there unpaid taxes?
No, the neighbor 2 houses down has been paying the taxes. So
how long has she been paying the taxes?
That's why I was trying to get a whole. Well, it's a gentleman. He was going to rehab it, but he said he ran out of money. But he did change the locks, even though he doesn't own it. And he let me in the property to view it. So I was like, this is weird, because
the neighbor,
2 neighbors down. 2 houses down.
Same neighbor that's paying the taxes?
Correct.
The locks?
Correct.
Are you familiar with adverse possession?
Yes, it takes 7 years. But if he's been paying the taxes for 7 years, could I acquire that from him?
How long has he been paying the taxes?
I can't get him on the phone again. That's what I'm trying to get. If he's been paying the taxes for 7 years, could he then, we could go to the courthouse there and we could get title, or?
Well, he would need to
verify the payments.
Yeah, I mean, you have to file the quiet title action.
Correct.
And get formal title to complete adverse possession. Just because you pay taxes for 7 years, it doesn't automatically transfer title. You would still need a court to rule on that. But for our purposes today, I mean, we're not going to be able to extend this out.
That's what I thought.
Allow for that to happen. That could take a while.
It takes a long, it's wild. That's what I was just trying to figure out. And then she was telling me I have to go downstairs to find out the total amount against the property.
Once the fines accrue and the liens are, I mean, if you're negotiating with this person, then maybe he might just be willing to go ahead and try to. What can you clarify again? What the violations are?
Overgrowth.
Overgrowth.
It's just the overgrowth.
And derelict car.
There's 2 separate cases. I have another one after the overgrowth for a derelict vehicle that's on the property.
So I'm trying to,
Is there a tag on the derelict vehicle?
Yeah, and it's expired. Off the top of my head, I want to say 2021.
Oh.
It's a white car.
he was probably paying the tag too. He was trying to get the car and the house probably, but he ran out of money when I was talking to him. But I have to go, quiet title is the route. And then negotiate. Where do you negotiate if it say it has $100,000?
I can't really advise you on how to do that.
No, where do you go? Where all the violations for the code violations?
If the hearing officer, assuming that she finds that there's a violation and imposes a fine, all that's going to get recorded in a document, in an order that's going to get recorded into the public record.
Okay.
Once it's recorded in the public record, it's going to be a lien on that property.
Correct.
That fine's just going to keep growing and growing until the grass is cut and the car is removed.
Correct.
And then once that's done, the car's gone, the grass is cut, everything, then you can come back in front of the full code enforcement board, and they can reconsider however much fine has accrued.
Okay.
The officers will recommend typically a 90% reduction of that fine.
That's what
at
I've
that
heard,
time.
yeah,
So
90%.
it'll be they'll recommend 10%. The board can do whatever they want. They can not reduce it. They can reduce it to almost nothing. They have complete discretion based on the circumstances. And then once they make that decision for the reduction, then you can go downstairs to the customer billing department, which is on this side of the building, and you can pay, and then we'll record a document called a release or a satisfaction that'll basically show in the public records that that lien is satisfied.
And so when do they go in front of the board, or how often they meet, once a month, or?
The board meets once a month, but they won't reconsider this until it's in compliance, and you'll have to apply for reconsideration, fill out the form, pay the fee. I think it's $50, and then they'll put it on the agenda for reconsideration.
And that's, what is that called down there, where you go to do that?
Customer billing.
Customer billing.
So I understand the circumstances, but I'm gonna find there is a violation.
Yes.
And the 10 days recommended, so you'll have until June 20th to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter, but,
But even though I don't own the property, will I come back and try to do it again, or?
listen to what he said. And
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, go through the process and
Yeah,
then.
but we can't tell you.
But come
You
back,
don't own
though.
the property.
We can't.
We can't tell you to go onto someone else's property
Correct.
and cure it. I mean, we can't tell you how to
Go about
get
it.
title or negotiate with this person who's trying to adverse
Sorry.
possession. That's
Somebody
all.
else could
You'll have to
if you
figure
did.
that out. But once it's done, if you can get in touch with the code enforcement officer, they can guide you through the reconsideration process.
Okay, and then is this the next case as well, so?
Correct.
Okay. So case number, we still need to hear it, right? Okay. LCE 22-01401, property address 933 Golden Rule Court North. Code Enforcement Officer Darren Crowell. And
Darren Kroll, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland. Case number LCE 22-01401. The address is 933 Golden Rule Court North. The owner is Bertie Brown. The violation is ordinance 4134, Section 1, derelict vehicle. The date of the violation was March 25th, 2022. It was to be corrected by April 4th, 2022. Reinspection was done on April 25th, 2022. Photos were taken on June 3rd, 2022 that showed the violation still existed. The city recommends compliance by 6/20 of 2022 or a $50 a day fine until compliance is met.
okay, and I'll go with the city's recommendation. I find there is a violation. They'll have 10 days or until June 20th to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Thank you. Okay, page 34, case number LCE 22-01541, address 306 West Memorial Boulevard, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Povey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Daniel Povey, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland. Case number LCE 22-01541. Address is 306 West Memorial Boulevard. The owners are ABV Holdings LLC. The violation is for ordinance 5425, prohibited signs, banners, streamers, balloons, and inflatables. Date of the violation is 03/31/2022, to be corrected by 04/10/2022. Reinspected on 04/25/2022 showed that the violation still exists. At this time, the city recommends compliance by 6/20/2022 or a $50 per day fine be imposed.
Good morning. Can you state your name, please?
Arthur Scott.
Okay.
Bonnie Scott.
Go ahead.
So we've reached out to the code enforcement officer a couple times via phone. I left a voicemail just inquiring because we decided to come in here since this is more of a tenant issue. The beauty salon, obviously, it states it on the flags. The beauty salon is just advertising for their business. This is a commercial establishment. And I just want to get some more information on what is allowed for a business owner to do as far as marketing for their business. They told me that they take the flags down every evening. This is something they put up during the day. This is something that's not necessarily uncommon among other businesses in the area, especially car dealerships that are right next door. So what exactly is allowed for them so I can inform them to market their business since they're running a business on a commercial property?
Can you clarify your relationship to the property? I'm seeing ABV.
We're the owners.
You're the LLC owners,
Yep.
okay.
We're not the tenants there.
And the tenant,
Is the one that's the beauty salon that's advertising, their marketing for their business on a commercial property.
okay, so the city has a sign code, which is basically a bunch of rules about what signs can be up on property and how the types of signs and the size of the signs, the amount of signs that you can have. And these, I think, are called banner signs, is that
Feather
right?
flags.
Flags?
Feather flags.
Feather flags. So there's lots of rules, and we wouldn't be able to give you those options of what options you do have, but the folks downstairs, if you heard me earlier speaking to the woman and telling her that you could go downstairs, they have a planner on demand, and the planner on demand is a person who is an expert in the city's sign code, all the zoning codes. And so you could speak with them, and they could guide you on what the options are. But the default rule is that you're not allowed to put up a sign without getting it permitted in the city. And this being a feather flag like that is actually, I think this type of sign is expressly prohibited. So even though you do see, it's true, you'll see them all over the city, but they're technically not allowed everywhere that they're up in the city that you see them.
And from what I was being told, they're not allowed to be up during daylight hours, so they regulate the hours.
I would just refer you to the folks downstairs, and they can give you lots of information if there is any exceptions or what what your options are. They can guide you on that. For purposes today, all the hearing officer can do is determine whether or not this is a code violation or not, and then impose a deadline to get it removed if it is a violation, and then a fine. So that's really the only authority that she has today. She can't really advise you on how to, what other options you might have.
We had tried to contact the officers. Like I said, no response, nothing. So if we need to get with the tenant to remove these, if it is out of compliance, can you give us the time to tell them so they can do whatever they need to do? Because I'm pretty sure they spent money on these signs, and their signs are everywhere, like everybody says. And, if we could have got contact with the officer, we didn't even have to be here today. We could have said, hey, listen, these signs are illegal. You guys have to take them down. But
Okay, so let's do this, because I do find there is a violation based on the code, and there's resources he told you downstairs, and I know the recommended 10 days because of the, the situation, but you're saying you want to go down and figure out an option.
Yeah, I'd like
So
to
let's say
inform them.
you'll have 30 days, so you'll have until July 10th to come into compliance. That should be enough time to figure out your answers and let them know, and then if not, then it'll be a $50 fine per day thereafter.
Okay, that's fine.
which department? Who is it exactly?
On the first floor, there's the permitting department. If you just go down there and ask to speak to a planner on demand, tell them you have some questions about the city's sign code.
Okay? Thank you. All right. Page 34, case number LCE 22-01545, address 309 Arbor Way, Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, presenting for Officer Charles McClellan's off today. The address is LCE 22-01545. The address is 309 Arbor Way. This is a repeat violation case. The owners are Rose Marie Aponte and Michael Buchanan. The violations ordinance 5425, section 5.17.3.5, parking and storage on residential property regulated. Date of violations 3/31/2022. What's to be corrected by 3/31/2022. There was 11 days of non-compliance in its reference case, LCE 20-03756. Was a total fine of $550. The city recommends it be dropped to 50%, which is $225, with administrative costs of $105.78, for a total of $330.78 to be paid for by 6/10/2023.
I think we were wrong on those amounts.
We discussed this one.
Half of 550 is 275.
225. Remember 550? Half of that's 225.
Mm-hmm.
225, that's 550. So half of 550 is.
Oh, that's okay. You're right. You're right. So 275 would be. I don't have my calculator on me.
275 plus 105.78 equals 380.78.
380. $380.78.
380.78.
Okay, I'm sorry. Be $380.78.
Okay, can you state your name, please?
Michael Phillip Buchanan.
Okay.
Not saying I wasn't in compliance, but 11 days was wrong. Because by the time you get the letter and by the time I get it and re-inspect it, it's only 4 days that the trailer was sitting there. So I appreciate the 50% discount and all, but it's still overfined. And I'd also like to know, was this the code enforcement just driving by seeing this, or was this a filed complaint?
I am covering the case for Mr. McQuillan, Officer McQuillan. I would have to look at the actual case itself, see if it was a complaint by somebody.
Because, you know, you drive through my neighborhood, there's a, you know, it just feels like I'm always getting singled out. You roll through my whole neighborhood. If a code enforcement was doing his job, I guess I'd say, if he was just driving fine and found me, he would find all kinds of stuff through my neighborhood. But every time I bring one trailer home, because I was here a year ago and I lost a case and I have to pay every month $200 to store my trailer. I bring it home for a few days for maintenance, and boom, I get a $300 and something fine. Plus I have to pay because you guys don't like my 3-axle trailer, not commercial, personal use, but because of your rules, you guys don't like it. So I don't think I should be fined 11 days. I think I should be fined 4 days with the 50% off and administration fees. I'm fine with that, but it wasn't there 11 days.
I can only go by this case by what Officer McQuillan put on the.
So then we need Officer McClellan here then.
The way it works on a repeat, when they're cited as a repeat, they're not given any time to correct because they are a repeat.
That's what I was confused about.
So once the letter goes out, it's their responsibility to contact the office.
I did.
Tell them that the case is in compliance.
I did, and he didn't inspect it for 4 days. I wrote it down. I called him. He said, oh, the next time I can get out there is 4 days later.
It's still your authority to determine what, however much fine to be imposed. You just have the ability with a repeat violator to impose a fine dating back to the date of the notice of violation. But just because you have the ability to do it doesn't mean that you have to, but it's completely your decision whether to impose a fine or not. But the point is that with a repeat violator, they've already been through the process. Normally, we have to give an opportunity to correct before, and it has to come before you to impose a fine. But in the case of a repeat violator, because that's already happened, then the city no longer has to do that. So the fine can be dated back to the notice of violation. But again, it's your discretion to decide.
I understand the circumstances and that they didn't come out right away, and I don't have Mr. McClellan here to give me any more background, just like you don't. So I'm gonna just go with the city's recommendation for this, but I suggest contacting someone further so that this doesn't happen again. and maybe there's an option for your trailer or whatever the issues may be. So I'm going to find there is a violation, and I'm going to go with the city's recommendation of the $380.78 paid by June 10th, but you said 2023?
2023 year.
So that's time to dispute.
Will I receive anything in the mail of where to pay and all that?
I'm sorry?
Will I receive any notification in
I'm
the mail?
not sure.
Yes.
Okay.
You will receive an order in the mail.
Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. You too. Okay, that was summary. Did I miss someone? Because I don't have any more. Oh, okay. Did you want to, or?
If you were not here to sign in, were you sworn in? Were you sworn in? Okay, if you can please stand and raise your right hand, and I'll swear you in. Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay, sir, if you come up here and we'll get your address and find out what case is yours.
1023 Jewel Avenue.
Jewel?
What page?
Is this your case?
Page 5.
What is it? The Jewel, okay. So page 5, case number LCE 22-00353, address 1023 Jewel Avenue. Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, case numbers LCE 22-00353. Address is 1023 Joel Avenue. The owner is an Alex Williams. The ordinance is 5425, section 5.17.3.6. Parking of a commercial vehicle and trailer prohibited. Date of violations 2/22, to be corrected by 2/12/2022. It was reinspected on 4/6/2022. Pictures were taken on 6/3/2022, shows the violation still exists. City recommends compliance by 6/20/22, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay. Can you state your name, please?
Alex Williamson.
Okay.
Only thing I can say, what he was telling me about was move. I had a box truck in the backyard. He told me to move the truck out of the backyard. I'm not putting none of this in the way, but I'm an 80-year-old man. Rotated cup, on about a socket. I work every day. No help on nothing. So I do what I can do because I work from 8 in the morning to 6 in the evening. So I went to his office to try to talk to him, explain to him. I used that because I did flea market because I didn't have no job to try to keep my house going. And I had the truck in my backyard so I can store my stuff in. So I took it out of the backyard 2 or 3 days ago, and the red car you saw, I had the man to come and get his car because I sold it to him in order to try to, keep my house going.
So the car has been moved, the vehicles have been moved?
Trailer got a tag on it, update, good for 23, in the year of 23.
I took the picture on 6/3/2022.
So-
It was, if you can see, if you go back to that picture, it was open with beds being stored in the back of it, so.
Yeah, it's in the truck.
And it's been moved since?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mr. Gomez will come and make sure that you're in compliance, and if you're in compliance, that's the end of it. But we're gonna still say you have 10 days to come into compliance, but you're saying you're already in compliance. Does that make sense?
It's sort of like this to me.
We're saying that you have 10 days, but you're saying you're already in
10 days
compliance.
in order to get it.
You're not
cleared up.
fined. Yep, you're not fined. You're fine. You just need to contact Mr. Gomez to come say you're in compliance, okay?
Yes, all right.
Okay.
Just to confirm, that truck is moved already?
It is moved.
Okay, so we're gonna say, because we're at the hearing, I do find there is a violation based on the pictures, and you'll have 10 days to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. But just contact Mr.
Well, I gotta move the truck.
When you're done, just talk to Mr. Gomez, and he'll get back out there to tell you, one, if you've done everything, or two, if there's anything else you need to do to come into compliance, and he can guide you through that. Okay?
Right.
Thank you. And was there one more, or that was it?
It's 10th Street, 326 West 10th. I don't know what page it's on.
What address are you here for?
What was it?
.326 West 10th Street.
What page is it on? What page, Tammy?
Page what?
I don't know. I'm looking for it too.
West 10th?
Yes.
Page 33? Oh. Oh, no, that's West 10th. Oh. 326 West 10th Street?
Yes.
Okay, it's page 24. Case number LCE 22-01233 and 326 West 10th Street, Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, case numbers LCE 22-01233. The address is 326 West 10th Street. The owner is Joy S. Dowdell. Violations ordinance 5425, section 5.17.36, parking a commercial vehicle and trailer prohibited. And ordinance 5425, section 5.17.36, parking a commercial vehicle and trailer regulated. Date of violations 3/6/2022, to be corrected by 3/26/2022. The reinspection was done on 4/7/2022. Photos shown on 6/3/2022, the vehicle's still there. The city recommends compliance by 6/2022, or $50 day fine may be imposed.
Can you please state your name?
Joy Dowdell.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Ray Miller. He's the owner of the vehicle. Commercial vehicle. Can I get a better understanding?
When we first saw it, had lights all around the front of it, the side, and the door was open. So by the appearance of having a air conditioning system like that, it appeared to be a food truck.
Okay, we actually, at this particular time, I was actually just moved in with her, and I was trying to fix it to make it into one eventually. But as you can see, it's in the back of the yard. I mean, I ran out of money, and it never really went anywhere, and that was pretty much it. You know, I was trying to do something, and it didn't quite come along. So we started taking parts off, getting our money back as much as possible. That's basically what it is. You know, it's not like I was running a business or anything. It's just, I was trying to get something started, and it just didn't quite pan out. You know. So I guess I'm in trouble for halfway trying to build something up.
No, I think the violation is not that you may or may not have been running a business, or that you were putting it together or taking it apart or any of that. The violation is that it's a vehicle that's not being driven, basically, right?
Well, it's considered to be a commercial motor vehicle because there was a refrigeration system inside the vehicle at one point. I haven't been called for reinspection to make sure that the refrigeration system has been removed out of there. To determine it's no longer that commercial motor vehicle, and it's just a van.
So have you taken the air?
So commercial just gotta have a refrigerator? I
No,
thought
it's
it
got
was more criteria.
several things, but when we spoke, I asked you about the
Yeah, basically what I was saying was, what was the criteria? I mean, you just need to know what the criteria are to be in those standings of being violated.
Do you still have the air conditioner attached to it, or did you remove that?
The definition of a commercial vehicle under the city's code is any vehicle which possesses one or more of the following characteristics. And there's several here. I'll just go ahead and read them. The first is a gross vehicle weight rating equal to or greater than 12,500 pounds.
No, that's not it.
The second one is that if it's greater than 80 inches in width. The third is if it's greater than 26 feet in length. Next is if it has more than 2 axles on the road. If it is equipped with air brakes, refrigeration equipment, hydraulic lifts, cranes, loading ramps, or similar equipment. And it sounds like that was the one that the officer was relying on here. Refrigeration equipment.
But the refrigeration equipment got what it's supposed to be as well. It's supposed to be other than a cooler refrigerator. You know, it got to be something of a certain BTU. It can't just be a little cooler refrigerator inside of there. I mean,
refrigeration equipment isn't defined in the code, so that would be the hearing officer to decide whether or not this means.
At one point, we did have a one of those mini 4-foot refrigerators. Yes, we did.
If that's done.
If it's been done, if we,
Right.
10 days, I can go out and re-inspect it.
Yeah, if it's
And
already.
then clear this.
Well, how could you see that though? How did
we
you
talked.
know we even had a refrigerator in there?
This was originally written by the code enforcement manager, and then when we spoke, you told me you had a refrigerator in it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is.
But I think you see the
prior to you
picture.
writing the violation, how did you know it was a refrigerator?
Because you had the lights outside. You had it posted as a food truck in front of the residence when we first saw it.
Who?
The lights were on. The door was open.
I was trying to string some lights up, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was supposed to have the
It
what?
had the appearance that their business was running out of there because you had the lights on and the door open, and it was on more than one time when they drove
Right,
down. It's right there on that main thoroughfare of 10th Street, right in front of the.
I know, because I'm right on 5th Street. I was trying to hook up the lights that day, but I'm saying, how did you know that I had a little small refrigerator?
You told me.
But I'm saying before that, to make him even come over there.
This was written by, like I said, the code enforcement manager. I followed up on the case itself.
So you're considering this as a commercial vehicle?
If the refrigeration equipment's removed,
It can't be parked on the property?
as long as that refrigerator.
Parking, because in the area, we see plenty of food trucks that's parked, is what I'm saying.
Like
But,
big
but,
trucks,
but,
but this just
but
a
I'm just
van.
saying, it can't be parked on my property?
For the use of a business, no.
No,
that's not what we're using it
It
for.
can be, as long as it's not a derelict vehicle, it has a proper tag, it runs and all that, yes. As long as that refrigeration equipment's moved out of that van.
Then you're
And all I would have to do is go re-inspect it again. Once the re-inspection's done, then we can go ahead and close the case up.
And if it's already in compliance, you're just here for formality. We just say based on the picture and the last, review of a code enforcement officer, there is a violation. Okay. You have.
I just moved the vehicle, period.
Yeah, you can park a commercial vehicle on commercial property.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it's a residence that's what makes it against the city code.
Oh, okay. What I'm trying to do to it actually puts it in a different.
Yes.
So any refrigeration on a vehicle, doesn't matter, in a car or anything, is considered commercial?
Well, like I said, the city, let me just back up and say that the city code says, this is the prohibition right here. It says, it shall be unlawful for any person to park any commercial vehicle or commercial trailer on any residentially zoned tract, lot, piece, or parcel of land in the city. So that's the prohibition. And then the definition of a commercial vehicle includes any vehicle that is equipped with air brakes, refrigeration equipment, hydraulic lifts, cranes, loading ramps, or similar equipment. And so that's what is being alleged by the officer here, is that because there was refrigeration equipment, you were building a food truck, and it was parked on residential property, that's a code violation. So you don't have to take the car apart or abandon the project, you just have to park it somewhere that's not residentially zoned property. If you've got a friend that has a a business or something, maybe you can park it in the back there or something.
Refrigerators out.
Or just take the
Or-
refrigerators out.
There's many options, and we're not here to,
Okay.
they'll help you, they'll guide you through, so you need to, decide, communicate, and then, so I am gonna find there's a violation based on the pictures and our discussion. I'm gonna go with the city's recommendation of the 10 days or a $50 fine per day thereafter, but just get in contact and it's a simple solution, I think. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Sir, can I get your name?
Renard Miller.
What is it?
Renard Miller.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I think that's everybody, right? Except, no, we'll just start from the beginning.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so page 1, case LCE 21-05997, address 518 Lake Hollingsworth Drive. Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Sheets. Hey, actually, I have a question. Okay. I was like, I don't know. Is that okay? I was like, okay, go ahead.
Beat me to it. Daniel Sheets, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number LCE 21-05997, that's 518 Lake Hollingsworth Drive. Owners Hayase and Clark Galbraith. Violations are ordinance 3947 for roof structurally sound and maintained. Date of violation was November 17th of 2021, to be corrected by January 16th of 2022. Reinspection on April 20th of 2022 showed that the violation still exists. However, during this time, they have retained counsel from Gray Robinson.
Go ahead.
They have retained counsel from Gary Robinson, so we're asking that the case be continued to the Code Enforcement Board hearing. That would be on June 28th, 2022.
Okay, so we'll find there's a continuance till June 28th, 2022. Thank you. Okay, page 3, case LCE 22-00027, address 2123 Mershon Street, and Code Enforcement Officer Joey. Okay, and is it Brownlow? Okay, Joey Brownlow.
Code Enforcement Officer Joey Brownlow, City of Lakeland. Case number LCE 22-00027, 2123 Mershon Street. Violation ordinance 5425, section 4.4.1. Data violation 1/6/2022, to be corrected by 2/11/2022. Reinspection on 4/15/2022 show that the violation still exists. Also, photos taken on 6/6 of 2022 show that the violation is still there. The city recommends compliance by 7/10/2022, or a $50 per day fine be imposed until the property is in compliance.
Okay, so I'll find there is a violation and go with the city's recommendation. They'll have until 7/10/2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Thank you. Okay, page 4, case LCE 22-00200, address 2018 Hallmark Court. Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Sheets.
Daniel Sheets, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number LCE 22-00200. That's 2018 Hallmark Court. Owners are John David Gothy and Carmen Gothy. Violations for ordinance 3947 for accessory structures, roofs, portions, and additions. Date of violation was January 24th of 2022, to be corrected by March 25th of 2022. Reinspection on March 28th, 2022, and pictures taken on June 6, 2022 showed that the violation still exists. The city is recommending compliance by July 10th, 2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have till July 10th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Thank you. So page 4, case LCE 22-00328, address 1201 Jewel Avenue. Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, case numbers LCE 22-00328, The address is 1201 Jewel Avenue. The owners are Hills Homes Tampa LLC. The violations ordinance 3947, Chapter 3, Section 305.16.1. The date of violations 2/1/2022 to be corrected by 4/2/2022. Reinspection was done on 4/4/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022 of the exterior. The violations still exist. The city recommends compliance by 8/9/2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay. I find there is a violation. They'll have until August 9th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Thank you. Page 6, case LCE 22-00498, address 611 West 3rd Street, Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez. You went away too fast.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, case numbers LCE 22-00498, address is 611 West 3rd Street. The owners of Lakeland Habitat for Humanity, Inc., Ordinance 3947, Chapter 3, Section 305.7 for the windows. Date of violation was 2/14/2022, to be corrected by 4/15/2022. The reinspection was done on 4/18/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022, show the violation still exists. The city recommends compliance by 8/9/2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until August 9th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Page 8, case number LCE 22-00670, address 714 Texas Avenue, Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, case numbers LCE 22-00670. The address is 714 Texas Avenue. The owner's Landy Real Estate Holdings LLC. The violations ordinance 5425, section 4.4.1, offense conditions. Date of violations 2/23/2022. To be corrected by 3/25/2022. Reinspection was 4/27/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022. Shows the violation still exists. City recommends compliance by 7/10/2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 7/10/2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Page 13, case LCE 22-01020, address 2235 Ginger Way, Code Enforcement Officer Adam Gomez.
City of Lakeland Code Enforcement Officer Adam Gomez, case number LCE 22-01020, 2335 Ginger Way. Owner is named Meradia Coto Gonzalez. Violation is care of premises.
Speak a little louder.
Sorry. Care of premises. Date of violation is 3/10/2022, to be corrected by 3/17/2022. Re-inspected 4/13/22 with photos on 6/6. The property is still not in compliance. The city recommends property come into compliance by 6/20/2022, or a fine of $50 a day run until compliance is met.
Okay, so I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 10 days till 6/20/2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Thank you. Page 16, case LCE 22-01087, address 833 East Bella Vista Street, Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan. No? Yeah, yeah, we can, right? Okay, sure. So the next one is page 19, case LCE 22-01121, address 2215 Onley Road, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Sheets.
Daniel Sheets, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number LCE 22-01121, that's 2215 Onley Road. Owners are Halar Perez. Violation is for 86-2 for overgrowth. Date of violation was March 14th of 2022, to be corrected by March 21st of 2022. Reinspection on April 15th, 2022, and pictures taken on June 6th, 2022 show that the violation still exists. City is recommending compliance by June 20th June 20th of 2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance with a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 21, case LCE 22-01171, address 3033 Balfour Avenue, and Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Sheets.
Daniel Sheets, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number LCE 22-01171. That's 3033 Balfour Avenue. Owners is the estate of Hubert Collins. Violations for 86-2 for overgrowth. Date of violation was on March 15th, 2022, to be corrected by March 22nd, 22. Reinspection on April 8th of 2022, and pictures taken on June 6th of 2022 showed that the violation still exists. City is recommending compliance by June 20th of 2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there's a violation. They'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. I have summary written down. I have affidavit of compliance. So talk about the first one?
Yeah, 701.
Somebody wrote that in. I did not.
I just didn't get that.
Okay. Are you ready for that one? Yes. Okay, so we're going to go back to page 16. Case LCE 22-01087, address 833 East Bella Vista Street. Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement for Charles McClellan. Case number is LCE 22-01087. The address is 833 East Bella Vista. The owners are Vanessa Ulysses. Ordinance is 4775, Section 3, Subsection A, Subsection 1. Posting of building numbers, and also posting of building numbers visible, and posting of building numbers size. Date of violation 3/11/2022, to be corrected by 3/21/2022, reinspected on 4/1/2022, so inspected again on 6/3/2022, where the violation still existed. The city recommends compliance by 6/2022, or $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I find there is a violation. They'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. So page 24, case LCE 22-01217, address 302 Whole Street, Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement. Case numbers LCE 22-01217, address is 302 Hall Street. The owners are RESTP LLC. The violation for ordinance 4775, Section 3, Subsection A.1 for the posting of building numbers. Date of violation is 3/6/2022, to be corrected by 3/26/2022. Reinspection was done on 4/7/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022. Shows the violation still remains. The city recommends compliance by 6/20/22, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay. I'll find there's a violation. They'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. And same page 24, case LCE 22-01219, address 430 Whole Street, Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, case numbers LCE 22-01219, addresses 430 Hall Street, owners are RESTP LLC, violation of ordinance 4775, section 3, and the remainder of the listings on there for building numbers. The date of violation is 3/6/2022, to be corrected by date of violation is 3/16/2022, to be corrected by 3/26/2022. The reinspection was done on 4/7/2022. The photos were taken on 6/3/2022, which shows the violation still existed. The city recommends compliance by 6/20/22, or a $50 day fine be imposed.
Yeah, I'll take the city's recommendation and find there is a violation, and they'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Page 32, case number LCE 22-01477, address 333 Eldorado Street, Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, presenting for Charles McClellan. Case number is LCE 22-01477. The address is 333 Eldorado Street. The owner is a Diane B. Sabisky. Ordinance 4775, Section 3. Posting of building numbers, the posting of building numbers being visible in the size. Date of violation is 3/29/2022, to be corrected by 4/8/2022. The reinspection was done on 4/21/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022, shows the violation still exists. City recommends compliance by 6/20/22, or impose a $50 day fine.
We'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 6/20/2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 33, case LCE 22-01491, address 3318 South Florida Avenue, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Povey.
Daniel Povey, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland. Case number LCE 22-01491. Address is 3318 South Florida Avenue. Owners are Workman Glenda Farrell Revocable Living Trust. Sorry. Violations are for ordinance 5425, section 4.9.3.2, prohibited sign streamers, and for section 4.9.3.210, prohibited signs vehicles. Date of the violation is 03/30/2022, to be corrected by 04/09/2022, re-inspected on 04/11/2022, show that the violation still exists. At this time, the city is recommending compliance by 6/20/2022, or a $50 per day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 6/20/2022 to come into compliance, or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 33, case LCE 22-01494, address 315 Young Place, Code Enforcement Officer Darren Crowell.
Darren Kroll, Code Enforcement Officer, City of Lakeland. Case number LCE 22-01494. The address is 315 Young Place. The owner is Sarah Morrison. The violation is ordinance 3947, Chapter 3, Section 307.4, care of premises, overgrowth, open storage, and junk. The date of the violation was March 30th, 2022. It was to be corrected by April 6th, 2022. Reinspection was done on April 25th, 2022. Pictures were taken June 3rd, 2022. It showed the violations still exist. The city recommends compliance by June 20th, 2022, or a $50 a day fine until compliance is met.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Page 36, case LCE 22-01601, address 3790 North Road 98. Code Enforcement Officer April Reeves.
Code Enforcement Officer April Reeves for the City of Lakeland. The case number is LCE 22-01601. The address is 3790 North Road 98. The owner is PGS Properties, LLC. The business is Krispy Kreme. The violation is Section 86-5 Lakeland Code of Ordinances, deposit in designated places only, and Section 86-36B Lakeland Code, disposal of garbage, commercial. In this case, the employees were dumping large amounts of sugar glaze down the storm drain. The violation was April 4th, 2022, and was to be corrected by April 10th, 2022. The reinspection was on April 11th, 2022, and at that time, the violation still existed. There were 6 inspections made. The first 2 showed that the dumping of the glaze in the storm drain had occurred. Since then, the violations appeared to have stopped. Since the last inspection was on June 3rd, 2022, and the city recommends a finding of fact in case the violations occur again.
Okay, so I'll find there was a violation and establish a repeat violator.
Correct.
Okay. So I find that and establish a repeat violator. And then there's no, they're not in, they don't need a compliance date because they're already in compliance, right?
At this time, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, page 37, case LCE 22-01707, address 1126 Gilmore Avenue, Code Enforcement Officer Charles McClellan.
Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland Code Enforcement, presenting for Charles McClellan. Case numbers LCE 22-01707. The address is 1126 Gilmore Avenue. The owners are Charlie Abrams. The violations ordinance 4134, section 1, derelict vehicle. Date of violation is 4/6/2022, to be corrected by 4/16/2022. Reinspection was done on 4/18/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022 to show the violation still exists. City recommends compliance by 6/20/2022, or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until June 20th, 2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 37, case LCE 22-01732, address 823 North Iowa Avenue, Code Enforcement Officer Adam Gomez.
City of Lakeland Code Enforcement Officer Adam Gomez. Case number LCE 22-01732 for 823 North Iowa. This is a repeat violation referencing cases LCE 21-04434 and LCE 21-00687. Date of violation is 4/7/2022. We ask for overgrowth, junk, trash, and debris. Since it is a repeat, we ask that the fines be imposed from the date of violation. And at this time, we request that you authorize the city's attorney's office to seek an injunction for a judge to abate the property.
Just for clarification, we already have an injunction. We would just be filing a motion to enforce that injunction, and then
I just don't know exactly what I'm supposed to say. So I'll find there is a violation or it's a repeat violation and grant.
Well, you're just going to, he's asking for the fine to be imposed effective April 7th.
Okay, so the fine will be imposed, yes.
And we're seeking authorization to seek an injunction from a judge.
Okay, and I authorize the seeking of the injunction.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, page 38, case LCE 22-01887, address 1349 West 2nd Street, Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez.
Code Enforcement Officer Alex Gomez, City of Lakeland, case numbers LCE 22-01887, address is 1349 West 2nd Street. The owners are Coquette Enterprises LLC. Ordinance is 4775, Section 3, posting of building numbers visible, and posting of building numbers size and contrast. Date of violation was 4/12/2022, to be corrected by 4/23/2022. A reinspection was done on 4/25/2022. Photos were taken on 6/3/2022, shows the violation remains. City recommends the compliance by 6/20/22 or a $50 a day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 6/20/2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 39, case PER 22-00160, address 612 West Patterson Street, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Povey.
You guys can go. Daniel Povey, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number PER 22-00160, address is 612 West Patterson Street, owners are KMS Enterprises LLC. Violation for Building Code Section 105.1, fence permit required, date of the violation 01/20/2022, to be corrected by 02/19/2022, re-inspected on 03/28/2022, show that the violation still exists. At this time, the city recommends compliance by 7/10/2022 or a $50 per day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until July 10th, 2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay. Page 40, case PER 22-00236, address 1643 Pineberry Street, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Povey.
Daniel Povey, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number PER 22-00236, address is 1643 Pineberry Street. Owner is Karen Samus. The violation for Building Code Section 105.1, fence permit required. Date of the violation is 01/26/2022, to be corrected by 02/25/2022, re-inspected on 03/30/2022, show that the violation still exists. At this time, the city recommends compliance by 7/10/2022 or a $50 per day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until July 10th, 2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 40, case PER 22-00239, address 1644 Salisbury Street, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Povey.
Daniel Povey, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number PER 22-00239, address is 1644 Salisbury Street. Owner is Linda Michelle Murray. The violation is for Florida Building Code Section 105.1, fence permit required. Date of the violation is 01/26/2022, to be corrected by 02/25/2022. Re-inspected on 03/30/2022, show that the violation still exists. At this time, the city recommends compliance by 7/10/2022 or a $50 per day fine be imposed.
Okay, so I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 7/10/2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, page 40, case PER 22-00372, address 618 North New York Avenue, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Povey.
Daniel Povey, Code Enforcement Officer for the City of Lakeland, case number PER 22-00372, address is 618 North New York Avenue. Owners are 209 Myrtle LLC. Violation for Florida Building Code, Section 105.1, permits required. Date of the violation was 02/04/2022 to be corrected by 03/06/2022. Re-inspected on 04/06/2022 show that the violation still exists. At this time, the city recommends compliance by 7/10/2022 or a $50 per day fine be imposed.
Okay, I'll find there is a violation. They'll have until 7/10/2022 to come into compliance or a $50 fine per day thereafter. Okay, and we're adjourned.
We're done.
All right. That was